So I first got involved in political activism back in college, principally organizing around social justice issues. It was a largely academic and intellectual activity sheltered by privilege and the bubble of academia. Then after college, I moved to Barcelona and continued organizing and being active in a variety of different movements, primarily anti-authoritarian and anarchist movements. And as a result, I came more in contact with the criminal justice system as a result of political repression and the war on drugs. I watched friends get locked up and had to deal with that reality. So it moved from an issue of being a sort of academic, intellectual activity and exercise to something that was much more personal and much more real. And that eventually culminated in my own run-in with the law here in the United States, which was particularly illustrative because at the end of the case, I realized that I never had ran a risk of ending up in prison, given my racial background and class background, which I think was probably the most impactful to realize how imbalanced and how much inequity there is in the criminal justice system. So coming back to the United States after 15 years in Europe, I think I bring a unique perspective to this project. Those 15 years outside of the U.S. have given me a certain outsider's critique and a certain outsider's viewpoint. But at the same time, being an American, I benefit from an insider's access. And I think that this is particularly relevant in the creation of this project. Critical for the success of the Voices of the New Jim Crow curriculum is the fact that this project is a collective endeavor. It is a collaborative project between two separate collectives and entities. One is the Voices Archive, which is a long-term project, documentary project, that seeks to create a census of an international census of the incarceration experience. The second group that is part of the collaboration is Out for Justice. Out for Justice has a long time history of working in the Baltimore community, advocating advocating for the incarcerated and ex-incarcerated. The organization is unique in that it is initiated, executed, and organized by ex-incarcerated themselves. I think that the critical for the success of the project is this grassroots reality that Out for Justice brings to the project. Their connection, intimate ties with the Baltimore community make the project much more relevant and much more real to the people that will be participating. I don't think we can have a serious conversation about criminal justice policy reform without the voice of the most affected people in the room, which would obviously be people that have been incarcerated and their family members that have suffered alongside. Similarly, I mean, I don't think we can have a conversation about abortion without women in the conversation. I don't think we can have a conversation about class without a diversity of class experience. And especially in this case, in criminal justice policy reform, I think that there's been a large vacancy in the dialogue, in the conversation, or the public discourse. And that vacancy is because we haven't included voices, particularly voices of people that have been incarcerated. As a photojournalist, I believe strongly in the importance and the role of journalism to hold truths to power, to speak truths to power. Not a single objective truth to power, but rather a variety of voices and subjective experiences. If journalism doesn't do this, then it runs the risk of becoming merely propaganda. And I think that the importance of journalism is to add complexity to the conversation and to act as a backstop against reductionist public discourses. In that sense, that is the guiding motive in why I do the work I do, is to add complexity. I think we're in a unique moment in history where a debate around criminal justice policy reform is occurring that couldn't have happened 15, 20 years ago. I think this is large part due to the fact of the economic insustainability of the mass incarceration system, coupled with the long-term social impact of the system. And I think that this gives us a unique opportunity to organize and respond and create debate and conversation and dialogue that we couldn't have done before. because I don't think that the general public or the political environment would have allowed for that kind of conversation to have taken place.